Looking at the AP Research Performance task as a whole, there are two components, the academic paper and the presentation and oral defense. The academic paper is a 4,000, 5,000 word paper that first must adhere to the word limit and second contain the following required elements. The student must introduce us to their topic of inquiry by contextualizing their research question or project goal within a review of previous works in the field, by ensuring a range of perspectives are reviewed and synthesized to paint a picture of what is known and what is not known, otherwise known as identifying the gap in the field, and by introducing initial assumptions or hypotheses associated with their research question or project goal. The student must explain and provide justification for their chosen capital R research method, process, or approach, and present the findings, evidence, or product as a result of this chosen method. Further, there must be a discussion of how the findings or results were interpreted, an explanation of which findings or results were most significant in forming an overall conclusion, and a discussion of the limitations and implications of this conclusion in connection to their original research question or project goal. Finally, the student must reflect on their inquiry process by explaining how their project could impact the current field of knowledge and discuss possible next steps with their inquiry. And, as with all scholarly papers, the student must provide a complete list of sources cited and consulted in the appropriate disciplinary style. Now that we've reviewed the required elements, let's look at the twofold task directions for the academic paper. As a reminder, the task directions on what students need to do in producing their academic paper can be found on the teacher pages of 48 and 49 in the course and exam description, as well as the student handout pages of 56 through 57. The task directions are twofold. The first half gets the students to develop their research question and proposal, and then once that proposal is approved, gets them engaged in implementing their research method. If students only perform the first two steps here of identifying and contextualizing their research within the field of inquiry, they would not receive more than a score of 1 on the academic paper. Therefore, it is very important that they have the next several steps to move forward in the true sense of the word research. The next few steps have students engaged in the true research process with a capital R. Students must design, choose a research method to address their research question, and provide the rationale for the alignment of their method to their research question. These steps will help the students get beyond a score of 1 on the academic paper. The final steps in this first stage of the inquiry process have students engaging with expert advisors if warranted, and being reflective throughout their inquiry journey by keeping a portfolio of their research and thought processes. Even though these two steps aren't addressed by the academic paper rubric, they are addressed by the presentation and oral defense rubric. The second stage of the task description has to do with the actual writing of the academic paper. Once the students have implemented their inquiry method, approach, or process, they should be ready to do some heavy writing. This is a writing process that should include a review or a revision of what they wrote in Part 1 to make sure it still aligns. This writing process should also include the development of the student's actual line of reasoning that leads to their conclusion as it pertains to their research question. Of course, it is required that the students adhere to the AP Capstone plagiarism and falsification or fabrication of information policy as they write their paper, and also adhere to the 4,000, 5,000 word count. Here is a list of what does not get included in that word count. I want to stop and make a note here that abstracts are okay and are sometimes quite helpful to oral defense panelists. Students are more than welcome to include such if it is an effective disciplinary style choice for their paper. However, it is not included in the word count nor graded in the actual reading. The body of the paper is what is scored by the rubric. And as I stated before, the student's academic paper must contain the required elements, and those elements should be presented in a discipline-appropriate style. We don't expect students to be masters of such a style, but we do expect it to be used consistently, which helps with organization and effective communication of one's line of reasoning. Now that we've reviewed the requirements of the task, the next activity will help you familiarize yourself with the structure of the academic paper rubric and how to apply it in a general sense.